And I'll continue with the lost sayings of Jesus. By question 4, when disciples asked him how to overcome misfortune. And then he smiled and said, "Don't judge yourself." So let's have a look at that. Don't judge yourself. How many times a day do we manage to judge what's happening to ourselves, around us? Don't judge. It's very clear. Don't judge. Imagine the world where judgment no longer exists. Yeah? To create the new, imagine we establish a new world. How would that make you feel? How would that make you feel? There'd be like no judgment. You would just come wherever you go and you know you're not going to be judged. You know you will not judge. There will be distinctions, but there will be no that undercurrent condemnation of some kind, the grievance that is usually behind certain judgments. That most of the time we do not recognize there are our judgments, they are hurting us. Yeah. Holding grievances is an attack upon God, upon creation. You only see the Christ wherever you look, which would make you indescribably happy. And then you build a new world on this foundation of no judgment, zero judgment. So what would it be like if there was no judgment? If you ask yourself that question and step back and go into the solitude and quiet and wait for the answer, which is often not necessarily another statement of some kind, but a sensation. It's first very subtle. It's like, oh God, that would be, I could breathe. It could be who you are. Wherever you go, you'd have to be protecting. There'll be a perfect safety everywhere. How would that make you feel? Now, let's incarnate this fully. Allow this feeling of relief to fully take over. And know that you can allow yourself to feel that feeling even more, because you're in a perfect safety. And no one will attack it for you unless you pick up the hammer again and nail yourself with a judgment. So let's not allow any judgment to enter upon this peaceful moment, and just simply ooze the world that we are creating based on new way of being, new way of seeing, and new way of experiencing. So this one little sentence, that's 3 words. Don't judge yourself. Would create. When we stop judging ourselves, there's no way we can judge others or things or anything. Slowly begin to enter into the kingdom of heaven. And there will be absolutely no doubt that that is so. Because there wouldn't be a judgment that could reduce it to, let's say, impossible. Oh, what a blasphemy. And then he says, do not renounce yourself, for you are divine. So here is Jesus saying, don't abandon yourself, don't renounce, don't lose yourself in judgment or madness, for you are divine. So let's incarnate that one. You're what? Yes, divine. If you were the most divine being, if you can't find that divine in you yet, which I understand because I couldn't at some point, I was so crucified by my own structure. I could not see the divinity within. I could not see the kingdom. So let's just practice it just by simply thinking of anything that's divine. Just the idea, the word. Sometimes we don't see it in ourselves, but we can see it in others. So what is divine? It could be some kind of angel, some teacher or person or God, divine. And as you keep staying in that word and repeating the word divine, when a word becomes flesh, you will begin to recognize divinity, often just as a tiny little glimmer, tiny little movement inside. It's like, oh. And then don't lose it. That's the treasure. We don't lose it. We go, oh, there it is. I can feel it. But we often don't allow ourselves to feel divine. So now, let's allow it. Could you allow yourself to be divine? Just say, yes, I am divine. And could you allow it even more? You just say, yes. And notice that if you don't judge yourself and just agree with what's already your divine right, it begins to expand. And as you feel safe and joyful and wondrous as well, it's like, what if I allowed this even more? What if I could feel it everywhere? Could you feel it in your earlobe or in your nose? It's like a divinity coming out of my nose or mouth or your throat, divine throat, divine chest. You might say, well, the body's not real. Don't worry about it. Yeah? We're going to use it for a moment and allow it even more. And so you can feel the divinity in your lower extremities, even the belly, divine organs. Everything oozes divinity. The light is shining everywhere and now. Divine light. Just like God created you, divine. And just allow it even more till it begins to, as if coming out of your body. And just keep stepping back and let the divinity lead the way. Let the divine take over and ooze and ooze. And as you can see that you're surviving this, you can sometimes pause for a moment and, am I okay to be divine? Am I okay to be the light of the world? Am I the way? Am I the truth? And so, you keep oozing. Do not renounce yourself, for you are divine. This is Jesus speaking directly, reminding you. It's like, hey brother, hey sister, how is it going? Let me whisper something into your ear. And the next to this question of how to overcome misfortune, this is a guiding light telling us, hey, if you do this, you will overcome misfortune for sure. Do not align or divide. So don't compare and don't divide. Don't align with something and hold rigid structures. Let it all go. Comes together with. Do not judge. And when we make a division, we divide in ourselves first. So think of someone you don't particularly enjoy, and now that are you in peace, imagine fully joining with them. So it's like just for 3 seconds, I'm going to join. Because when you met those people first time, maybe you were quite close, even wondrously beautiful together. And then something was said, a judgment was made. And what happened? Division. And out of that division came tension, and it built up until like, oh my God, I can't stand this. So the judgment kicked in. We renounced ourselves. We lost divinity. We divided ourselves. So we go, join in just for a moment and notice if you survived that. Because what you're really doing, these people are reflecting a feeling in you that you don't like, forgetting one important thing, and that is that feeling is yours. And it's that feeling that drew this whole situation to your life. That's why we are responsible for everything we see. And when we do, something magical happens. We take full responsibility And instead of dividing, we begin to atone. We begin to at one, become one again. And then see if you can join with this person or thing again, maybe for 10 seconds. Pure joining is like, hello, hey, it's been bad, huh? I really don't like you or something. And you can just express what's there. It's like, hey, you know what? It's like, you're freaking crazy, right? And imagine they go like, I know. I don't know what happened. I was meaning to contact you and go like, hey, forgive me, but I thought you might never receive me. Yeah, so you begin a completely different conversation within yourself where forgiveness begins to come into play. Where you become friends again. And this is not going to mean at all that you need to now hang out with them or anything. It is only showing you that when you begin to join with others, you will find unity within yourself. So it's part of change of attitude. Yeah. Decide to see our brothers and sisters holy. Because when that happens, you become so grateful that you're no longer holding a grievance. And you begin to remember God again. Because you see that everyone around you has a heart. Everyone around you is equally divine as you are, or as the holiest people of holy. And then he says, I'll be grateful for everything. Be grateful for everything. And again, could you allow yourself to feel grateful? Because the gratitude can easily be forgotten under the stress of this judgmental system, of the Herod within, the ego or the Luciferian, even the part of us that's loveless. You know? Be grateful for everything. So let's just practice for a moment, allowing ourselves to be grateful. What are you grateful for? And I know this is like one of those new age corny things, but hey, what are you grateful for? I'm so grateful. I've got this beautiful son who plays music with me, you know. I'm so grateful for the exquisite job I have where I go and hang out with kids and play music. I'm grateful for my body that is doing so well, even though it has sometimes challenges. I'm grateful for everything that's reflecting to me and suggesting help. Like, I ask myself, what can I do to feel better in my body? You know? And it was just interesting. Like, wherever I went, I went on YouTube or saw a friend, or was in town and I was looking at this poster, all of them were saying, don't eat for a week. So I'm on a fast. I said, okay, I'm just going to follow that. I'm not going to eat. And just going to drink some bit of salty water and maybe a bit of lemon. And it's going rather well. I'm glad I'm doing it. So everything is talking to us. Everything is, the answers are coming from everywhere. So I'm grateful So, and again, what is gratitude? It is a feeling. We don't often allow ourselves to fully feel, to fulfill ourselves with gratitude. So, how would we go about it? If you're the most grateful person on the planet, how would you sit? How would you feel? How would you breathe? How would you express that? How do you express gratitude? What's another way to profoundly connect? Because one thing I can vow for is that every single time I had this, what I call the awakening moments, or connecting to God, or really seeing the truth, gratitude was always part of it. I'll be so grateful, I'll be in tears. I would cry. These happy tears of gratitude. And so just saying thank you as a daily mantra, no matter what happens. You know, someone condemns you, you go, thank you. Thank you so much. Father, forgive them, for they have no clue what they do, is one way of approaching that. And the other one is going like, what's in me that I have this kind of reflection happening in the world? How does it make me feel? I made a comment on some maybe Christian video, and just saying what I normally say, you know, we're it. And there was this amazingly beautiful answer. Somebody says, brothers and sisters in Christ, this is a very subtle way of blasphemy. So this is how it comes. This is the evil whatever. I'm going like, wow, that's amazing. I'm going like, who were the people in the Bible that called Jesus blasphemous? Because what did he do? He declared himself. You know, hey, I'm Son of God. And what did he do? Hey, you're nuts. Yeah? Next minute, like, crucify him. Yeah? And for a moment he was like, oh. And then he was like, wow, thank you. Thank you so much, because if I truly declare myself, I will be nailed, but I'll also resurrect, because that is the journey. That is the example life to be followed. Because when you declare yourself as who you truly are, as divine, there might be a reflection out there that will not be able to understand it. So, in that sense, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do, but also forgive me, Father, for I have somewhere drawn this to myself. Yeah, always that full responsibility. And an enormous gratitude for the nail. I think, thanks, brother. It's lovely. I needed to hear that today. And the next one, he says, rejoice, for joy works wonders, because joy brings miracles. I keep looking at this Slovakian version from which it came, and sometimes I see slightly different words than I translated. I don't know why that is, but I guess I did this a while back. If I translated word to words like rejoice, because joy makes miracles or creates miracles. So if I say, hey, rejoice, how do you do that? How do you rejoice for no good reason except a decision to be happy? In the Course of Love, there's this beautiful sentence that said something like, it was a denial of your happy thoughts that led to this misery. What was it? It was a denial of happy thoughts. And they've been replaced by something else. And that created the world we see. So let's rejoice. It's a practice. A quality that's often not used, not given. And what we don't give, we don't have. Every time you frown, your mind has you grabbed by the foundation of your being. So it's just catching that moment. Yeah, it's an addiction. Seriousness is an addiction. And for a long time I was into this, like allowing all the negative feelings and going to the darkness of the soul, of the night. And one day I said, well, I'm expressing all this, allowing all these dark feelings, but what about joy? What if I just allow myself to be happy for no good reason and allow it to show me what it's like to spend an hour in a pure joy? So I would just think of pure joy, which we can practice just maybe for a minute. Think of a pure joy. See, it's already in you. Yeah? You say pure joy, something comes. It might even be someone else's joy. It doesn't matter. Where do you experience that joy? It's right there in you. And so you go, okay. And then don't let anything else to creep in and steal the show. Yeah, steal this moment. Just go. Put a smile on your face. That's a really good start. Some Chinese school, they have this called inner smile meditation, where you just find something. If you can't smile straight away. My son yesterday, I was writing him some music, and he goes, why are you smiling? I said, like, am I? Yeah, I just couldn't wipe my green. You know, you can also see it when we do like Urantia book. It's really beautiful to see how we're reading some of these materials that seem to be so complex and so out of this world, and they are. And we are like beaming with this joy that we can't understand where it comes from. Yeah? That's why I love Urantia book, because it just smiles me. And it's so vast and so beyond human comprehension that it dislodges, for me it dislodges any thought of less than pure joy. So we allow more joy and more joy. And notice, where is that in me? Where is that joy? Where is the pure, radiant joy within? And what happens if I give it? I give it more and more. Yeah. And here it comes, and it begins to grow, begins to shine, and more it shines within, more it shines. And then you take it wherever you go. God goes with me wherever I go. Joy goes with me wherever I go. To everyone, I offer pure, what? Pure joy. And there it is. And notice what creeps in after 10 minutes of sitting in this pure joy. Is the smile still on? Is the ooze, is it feeling to the core, and it feels like you are the sun in the sky, shining on everything, shining back on God and say like, hey, Daddy, look at me. How's that? Am I your son now? Of course, you're my beloved son in whom I'm delighted, God says. And you go, yeah. Daddy and I, we're good company. Beautiful. And the next one is love yourself, for he or she loves others. Yeah. This is not written in the masculine thing. For those who, for he who loves himself loves others, or she who loves herself loves others. I love this brother and sister thing. Masculine, feminine, it's the best thing ever. An absolute equality of the brotherhood and sisterhood of God. Yeah, love yourself, because that one who loves the self loves others. It also works vice versa. Love everyone, and you will find that love is within you. And this is a really good one. Bless the danger, for the brave find bliss. Or brave ones find bliss. So instead of condemning something, we bless it. Yeah? Some crazy stuff's happening around the world. Well, do we condemn it? Then it stays. But do we bless it? Yeah. Bless the insanity. Bless the blasphemers. Bless yourself. Yeah, I'm sure I've got some blasphemy in me. But hey, bless it. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. Yeah, and a correction occurs. And the next one is, pray when you feel joy and unhappiness will not affect you. So remain joyful. As you remain joyful, unhappiness cannot creep in. It is not part of joy, right? So we just stay joyful. Practice joy every day. First thing in the morning, if you find yourself a little bit serious, just chuck on a smile, begin to beam, shine, and will remind you immediately who you are. And this is lovely. Pray, but do not trade with God. Do not sell this stuff. Just share. It's like, don't make business out of this. There is so much junk out there that's for sale. All these little trinkets. Just pray, but do not trade with God. Pray in a cupboard. Don't stand in a corner of a street so everyone sees you being the Holy One. occasionally I see this very beautiful, maybe 20 seconds long interview with Carl Jung, and somebody asked him something about, do you believe in God, or did you believe in God? I says, oh yeah, I believe in God. It's like, and then he goes, and now? He goes, now? Oh, this is difficult to answer. Now I know. It's so gorgeous, because it becomes like a little child. This happy expression that's oozing out of him. You know, there's no selling anything. There's just this quiet knowing, yeah. When you still and know you're God, yeah. And the last one is know that praise is the best prayer for the soul, and happiness is the best diet. That was so cool. Somebody, it was also one of these little things that came up somewhere on my YouTube. That was actually the first glimmer of this kind of fasting. Somebody said, do you know what is the best diet for clearing your arteries? He goes, fasting. And I'm like, oh, this is so good. It was like a music to my ears. My next few podcasts might be highly elevated, because when I fast, I begin to get energy from all these weird sources other than food, and they can make me highly elevated, and could be unbearable for some density anywhere. Anyway, know that praise is the best prayer for the soul, and happiness is the best diet. And I read them all again.